chosen ones. You got people's blood boiling. If you find this, your ascension is about to happen. The chaos surrounding you isn't random. The people losing their composure in your presence aren't unraveling by coincidence. Right now, someone in your life is having a meltdown while you're calmer than ever. That's no accident. It's the universe showing you what happens when you stop playing small. This is your ascension unfolding in real time, and once you see it for what it is, there's no going back. Whoever isn't getting their way with you right now is revealing true character. You're witnessing the most passive-aggressive tantrum you've ever seen from grown adults, and this display is going to be burned into your memory forever. Why? Because when someone shows you who becomes when losing control over you, believe it. That's the real face. That's actual energy. Everything before was performance. You are about to take action that will scare certain people. No one is expecting you to move the way you're about to move. People have been banking on your loyalty, your compassion, your willingness to sacrifice yourself, keeping you locked in place. But something has awakened in you. You're starting to recognize just how resourceful you actually are. And that recognition is power nobody can manipulate anymore. Do you know what's been happening? People have been relying on you more than anyone would ever admit out loud. Entire portions of lives have been built on the assumption that you'll always be there to prop things up, to solve problems, to be the emotional support system. But it's been done quietly, subtly, never acknowledging the debt owed to you. And now that you're waking up to this dynamic, now that you're seeing the imbalance clearly, panic is setting in around you. The universe is forcing you to examine relationships that might not survive what's coming. Some connections will evolve, some will end, but all are under the microscope right now, and you're the one holding the lens. You're asking yourself questions you've been avoiding. Why am I always everyone's cheerleader? Why do I show up for every single person who needs me, but when I need someone, where is anyone? Why does my availability have no limits, but everything else comes with conditions and timers? How someone treats you when not getting their way is showing you everything you need to know about character. Watch what happens when you set a boundary. Watch responses when you're not immediately available. Watch faces when you prioritize yourself for once. That reaction tells you who people really are beneath the mask worn for you. Somebody in your circle right now didn't think you were going to glow up this much. Complete underestimation. When you were struggling, when you were down, comfort came from being the strong one, the stable one, the one you leaned on. That dynamic was preferred. It fed ego. It created feelings of importance. But now you're rising, and imagine superiority is crumbling before eyes. Nobody thought you would actually stand up for yourself with this level of conviction. Nobody thought you would learn to speak your truth without flinching. Your confidence has been growing, and it's making people deeply uncomfortable. You're learning to tell it like it is, and some people don't know how to function when you're not walking on eggshells around feelings anymore. Stunned reactions everywhere, people thinking, wait, who is this person? Why are you so calm while saying things that cut through everything? Because your confidence isn't loud or aggressive, it's quiet and unshakable, and that's the kind of power that can't be argued with. There's something you might have to do completely on your own, and you're wrapping your mind around that reality. Your perspective is shifting rapidly. Maybe certain people won't be in your life for the long run. Maybe some really are here for a season, and that season is ending. So you're examining closely, looking at patterns you used to excuse, weighing actions against words. Let me get specific, because this is crucial. Some of you are navigating major life changes alone right now. Serious challenges without the support promised. Heavy responsibilities when someone swore being there together. Major transitions solo when it was supposed to be a shared journey. You're carrying something heavy that you were never meant to carry alone, and people who should be helping are pretending not to see you struggling. You can stand right next to someone and feel completely alone. Physical presence doesn't equal emotional support. Being in the same room doesn't mean being present. And people in your life who think deserving credit for simply existing near you while you suffer need a serious wake-up call. The belief is that not actively making things worse means being supportive. The expectation is applause because not kicking you while you're down, but you're not asking for a parade. You're asking for actual showing up in a meaningful way, to bring resources to the table, to lighten the load instead of just watching you carry it. Credit is being claimed for standing beside you while contributing nothing substantial, no defending you, no problem solving with you, no bringing solutions or energy or help, just existing in your space, watching you fight battles alone, and somehow expecting gratitude for passive observation. There's an alarm going off in your head, and it's getting louder every day. This isn't sustainable. This dynamic, this one-sided arrangement is not going to work. You're realizing that when you weren't doing well in life, certain people were more willing to hold your hand. But now that you're stronger, more capable, more independent, backing off has happened with an attitude that reeks of resentment. The thinking, well, figuring it out alone is possible now, so why should I help? Even if situations were reversed, you would never abandon them like that. You would never watch struggle and justify lack of support by saying strength is enough to handle things alone. But not everyone is like you. The desire was for growth, but not this much. The desire was for confidence, but not so much confidence that validation isn't needed. The desire was for independence, but not so independent that clarity reveals how little is actually contributed. This could even be a family who promised to help you get established, who swore being your foundation, and then disappeared when time came to actually follow through. You're staring at broken promises right now. Hypocritical commitments, self-righteous declarations that meant nothing when tested by reality. And it hurts because you know in your soul that you're valuable, that you're worthy, that you deserve better than this. Every time you trust certain people, you end up looking foolish. Every time you believe words, you end up disappointed. Every time you depend on anyone, you end up carrying everything alone, and you're tired. Not the kind of tired that sleep fixes, but the bone-deep exhaustion that comes from constantly being let down by people who claim to love you. If this message aligned with your purpose, hype this video so fellow chosen ones can find their confirmation. The thinking is, oh, capability and resourcefulness means looking good, handling everything. So what is really needed from me? People want you to succeed, but not so much that you don't need them anymore. The desire is for you to glow up, but not so much that outshining happens. The want is for you to be strong, but not so strong that being an emotional support system while offering nothing in return stops. You're leveling up right now whether you feel ready or not. Even in the middle of difficulty, even while navigating challenges that would break most people, you're still rising. This struggle is forging you into something stronger. You're thinking, okay, I have to dig this hole alone. I have to fight this battle without backup. And you know what? I'm going to come out of this transformed. The desire is to leave me in the dirt. I'm going to rise from it like a phoenix. You could be someone's worst nightmare if you chose to be. You have information, resources, connections that could make things difficult for certain people. But you're not operating from that energy. You're not trying to destroy anyone. There might be some things you said recently that crossed a line, moments where your frustration got the better of you. You might need to ask for forgiveness later, but right now you're still processing the anger, and that's okay. You're allowed to be furious at people who aren't showing up for you while demanding everything from you. This is like someone asking you to run a marathon while refusing to walk 2 blocks for you. The need is for you to train, sacrifice, give everything you've got for benefit. But when you ask for something simple in return, suddenly too busy, too tired, too stressed, the audacity of that double standard is finally registering with you. The image of looking loyal without actually being loyal is preferred, and you've become a mirror that shows the difference. You demonstrate through your actions what real loyalty looks like, what genuine love looks like, what authentic friendship looks like. And that reflection is unbearable because it exposes performative nonsense. Maybe when you first met certain people, you weren't great at relationships either. Maybe you didn't know how to show up for others, but you learned. You grew. You became someone who honors commitments and values people. Now you're expecting the same energy back, and acting like you're demanding too much is the response. You're becoming powerful, and you can't stop it even if you try. When you're around certain people, you feel yourself shrinking, becoming invisible, losing your essence, and you're done with that. You refuse to become nobody just because someone else is threatened by your growth. You can't dim your light because discomfort exists with brightness. You can't pause your evolution because no one is evolving with you. You're always on the edge of transformation, and that makes people nervous. But here's what's different this time. You're not waiting for disaster to strike before making changes. You've been through enough sudden upheavals, enough unexpected towers crumbling. You're making proactive moves now instead of reactive ones. Tell it like it is. Even though it's uncomfortable, even though it might damage relationships, speak your truth anyway. Absolute shock is coming when you calmly state facts nobody wants to hear. Reckless talking has been happening for so long, maybe much longer. But the moment you give a taste of medicine by simply speaking honestly, minds are going to be lost. There's greatness in your lineage, there's power in your bloodline. You're not going to be anyone's doormat, and you're definitely not going to shrink yourself to make insecure people comfortable. Attempts to have the last word might come, attempts to dominate conversation, but secret intimidation exists, because when you speak, people actually listen. When you share wisdom, it resonates, and everyone knows it. Other people love attention and glamour. Craving the spotlight is constant. But you want impact. You want to help people on a massive scale. You want your life to mean something beyond surface-level validation. And that difference in motivation is creating a chasm. You're in a trench right now, digging alone, and it was never supposed to be this way. But here's what you're declaring. Okay, I'll do it alone, but mark my words, I am updating my entire system with or without anyone. I am evolving whether approval comes or not. I am becoming who I'm meant to be, regardless of who stays or leaves. People in your life are relentless, but not in a good way. Every time you level up, every time you're finally feeling good, something is wanted from you. And here's the part that should make you furious. When you're trying to rest, when you're attempting to practice self-care, when your nervous system is finally calming down, that's when attacks come. Berating happens for resting. Criticism happens for having boundaries. Guilt comes for taking care of yourself. It's not easy for you to relax. It's not natural for you to be in a calm state because life has conditioned you to be hyper-vigilant. So when you finally achieve some peace and immediate disruption happens, that's not accidental, that's strategic. Because when you're rested and clear-headed, you see accurately. When you're depleted and stressed, you're easier to control. Before now, you might not have felt strong enough to walk away from dead relationships. You might not have trusted yourself to survive without certain people. But something has shifted. You know now that if you're being divinely guided toward this realization, you're supported by forces greater than yourself. This transformation is backed by the universe. Either relationships will survive this storm because people change, or you're going to shock everyone by walking away and fixing will happen after you're gone, or no change will come at all and you'll move on anyway. But one thing is certain, someone has been disrupting your nervous system more than you've admitted. Whether it's a job, a relationship, a family situation, something is draining your life force. You're healing from trauma right now, and you're close to the breakthrough. You're almost free. And right when you're about to cross that finish line, someone is making demands. Needs exist for you to handle this, complete that, show up for them. You're thinking, on what planet? I'm recovering, I'm resting, I'm healing. It's a twisted situation. Words say rest is wanted for you. Instructions come to take care of yourself. But when you actually do it, abandonment accusations fly. The desire is for you healthy enough to serve, but not so healthy that recognition comes of how you're being used. Strength was presented when you met. Acting like thick skin existed, like anything could be handled was the performance. But as you've gotten stronger, the illusion is crumbling. Stability isn't what was pretended. Independence isn't what was claimed. Need for you is desperate, and resentment exists for you, making awareness of that need unavoidable. You're building brick walls, and it's shocking everyone who thought unlimited access to you existed. You've never been someone who shuts people out. Your loyalty is legendary. Your capacity for forgiveness is enormous. But now you're protecting yourself with the same intensity you used to protect others. And people don't recognize this version of you. Why would you tolerate someone taunting you while you're trying to heal? Why would you allow someone to drain you while you're trying to recharge? You wouldn't. And that's exactly why these walls are necessary. Not to punish anyone, but to protect what you're building. You're becoming more intuitive every single day. You're seeing patterns you couldn't see before. You're sensing energy shifts you used to miss. You're picking up on manipulation tactics that used to work on you. And this evolution is making certain people very uncomfortable. Frustration exists that games can't be run on you anymore. When you were struggling, positioning as your savior happened. Acting superior was the move. Pretending to be teaching you was the game. But now that you're rising, now that you're matching or exceeding levels, threat is felt. A follower was wanted, not an equal. Someone who needed was wanted, not someone who chooses. There's something crucial about perception here. This person doesn't remember things accurately. When you help, forgetting happens within days. When you sacrifice, minimization happens. When you show up consistently, taking for granted is automatic. But when the bare minimum gets done for you, eternal gratitude is expected. And you're finally seeing how manipulative that selective memory is. You have the integrity to acknowledge when someone has helped you, even if you don't like them. You have the character to give credit where it's due, even when it's uncomfortable, but others don't operate that way. Memory and appreciation depend entirely on mood. If liking you happens today, you've done everything. If not liking you happens today, you've never done anything, and you're done accommodating that instability. Provocation is desired, triggering is wanted, getting a reaction is the goal. The thinking is that your emotional state can still be controlled, but here's what's being missed. You're immune to attacks now. You've felt alone so long that threats don't land anymore. You've been fighting battles solo so much that presence or absence doesn't change your reality. You are the warrior who survived everything thrown at you, and you're still standing. Maybe appreciation for you used to exist. Maybe there was a time when genuine gratitude happened, when value was shown, when feeling seen occurred. But the more independent you became, the more you glowed up, the less appreciation came, because your growth threatened position, your success made inadequacy felt, your confidence exposed insecurity. You might be having the brave conversation with yourself right now about whether this person is actually toxic, whether narcissistic traits exist, whether this relationship is salvageable, and that takes enormous courage to look at someone you love and admit potential unhealthiness exists. The universe is sending you allies right now. People are appearing from unexpected places to support you. Help is coming from directions you didn't anticipate. Why? Because there's a major shift happening in your life, and divine forces are surrounding you with real support to replace the fake support that's crumbling. If someone constantly attacks the purpose you're walking in, think about what that means. If questioning happens about the help you give to others, if mocking your calling occurs, if undermining your gifts is constant, that tells you everything about whether actual support exists for your highest good. Have you ever done that to anyone? Have you ever questioned value or purpose of others? Probably not, because you're not threatened by other people's light. You've shown up for every event that mattered to others. Every milestone, every moment support was needed. But when it's your turn, convenient busyness happens, excuses get made, minimization happens of the importance of your achievements, and you're done pretending that's acceptable. The more boundaries you create, the more peace you'll experience. Your body will literally start healing once you remove toxic energy from your environment. Your nervous system will regulate, your anxiety will decrease, your sleep will improve. Chaos has been making you physically sick, and removing it will allow you to thrive. You're powerful with water right now. There's something spiritually significant about how you interact with this element. Intentional baths, blessed drinking water, mindful showers. These practices are helping you reclaim your energy. Use water to cleanse what's been weighing you down. You thought love was going to look a certain way with certain people, but what's actually happening is you're falling in love with yourself. You're recognizing your value. You're seeing your worth. You're appreciating your own gifts. And someone is trying to interrupt that self-love to make it about themselves again. Don't let hijacking of your healing happen. Every step you're taking counts, even when people try to convince you it doesn't. Every boundary matters. Every moment you choose yourself is rewriting your future. Don't let minimization of your progress happen. Don't let discouragement from doing what's right for your well-being happen. You're listening to your body like never before. You're honoring what it needs. You're respecting its signals. And if certain people had their way, disruption of that connection would happen. The desire is for you not in tune with yourself, because when you're connected to your intuition, you see clearly, and what you see isn't pretty. Anger isn't happening because you're being difficult. Upset isn't occurring because you're being unreasonable. Minds are being lost because you've stopped being predictable. You've stopped responding to the same manipulation tactics that used to work. You've stopped shrinking when attempts to make you small happen. And that unpredictability is absolutely terrifying to people who built entire relationships with you on being able to control your responses. Watch what happens when you don't react the way expected. Watch confusion when you stay calm in situations that used to make you defensive. Watch frustration when you simply say no without offering explanations or justifications. That reaction is everything. That's realization of lost leverage over you. That's understanding that the old version of you is never coming back. You know what's fascinating? The same people who are mad at you for setting boundaries are the same people who have no boundaries when it comes to taking from you. Calling you at any hour expecting everything dropped can happen. Showing up unannounced, demanding your time and energy is acceptable. Venting for hours without asking if capacity exists to hold space can occur. But the moment you're unavailable, the moment you say you need time for yourself, suddenly you're selfish, suddenly you're abandoning, suddenly you're the villain in a story where you've been the hero carrying everyone else. Your presence has been subsidizing dysfunction around you. Your emotional labor has been covering for emotional immaturity. Your resources have been compensating for lack of resources elsewhere. And now that you're pulling back that subsidy, whole systems are collapsing. That's not your fault. That's finally having to face what's been avoided by using you as a crutch. Think about this carefully. How many times have you been the one to initiate the apology, even when you weren't wrong? How many times have you been the one to extend the olive branch after disrespect came your way? How many times have you been the peacemaker, the mediator, the one who smooths everything over so everyone else can be comfortable? And where has that gotten you? It's gotten you to a place where people expect you to absorb bad behavior without complaint, but something is different now. You're not rushing to fix things anymore. You're not frantically trying to keep the peace. You're letting people sit in the discomfort of their own actions. You're allowing consequences to teach the lessons you've been trying to teach with your words. And this is what's making blood boil more than anything else. Being forced to feel the weight of choices is happening, and liking it isn't happening. The people whose blood is boiling the hottest are the ones who benefited the most from the old you. Maximum benefit came from your boundaryless giving. Exploitation of your loyalty happened. Taking advantage of your compassion occurred. Weaponization of your love was constant. So when you change, when you evolve, when you ascend, the most gets lost. That's why reaction is so intense. That's why fighting so hard to pull you back is happening. Fighting isn't for you. Fighting is for what you used to give. You're starting to recognize something profound. Love without respect is just exploitation with better marketing. Care without reciprocity is just servitude with a softer name. Loyalty without appreciation is just being taken for granted with extra steps, and you're done accepting these counterfeit versions of real connection. You're done pretending that crumbs are a feast. You're done convincing yourself that you're asking for too much when you're actually asking for the bare minimum. There's a part of you that's mourning right now, and that's okay. You're grieving the relationships you thought you had. You're mourning the people you thought certain individuals were. You're processing the loss of the future you imagined with specific people in it. That grief is valid. That sadness is real. But don't let that grief stop you from doing what needs to be done. Don't let that sadness convince you to go back to situations that were slowly destroying you. The title of this message says blood is boiling, and you need to understand why that specific phrase matters. Blood boiling isn't mild irritation. It's not slight annoyance. It's visceral, uncontrollable rage that comes from deep insecurity. When someone's blood is boiling because of your growth, it means your evolution is threatening entire self-concepts. It means your success is highlighting stagnation. It means your boundaries are exposing entitlement. You're not doing anything to anyone. You're just being yourself. You're just choosing yourself. You're just protecting yourself. But to people who thrived on you neglecting yourself, your self-care feels like abandonment. To people who benefited from you being small, your expansion feels like aggression. To people who relied on your silence, your voice feels like violence. None of that is true, but perception doesn't have to be your reality. Let's talk about what's happening in your body right now, because this ascension isn't just spiritual or emotional, it's physical. You might be experiencing unusual symptoms, exhaustion that sleep doesn't fix, tension in places you didn't know you could hold tension, digestive issues, headaches. Your body has been holding the stress of toxic relationships, and now as you release them, your body is detoxifying. That's real. That's physical proof that connections were literally making you sick. Pay attention to how you feel after spending time with certain people. Do you feel drained or energized? Do you feel smaller or more expansive? Do you feel confused or clear? Your body is giving you data that your mind might still be arguing with. Trust your body. It knows the truth before your thoughts catch up. If being around someone consistently makes you feel terrible, that's not coincidence. That's your system telling you that this person is incompatible with your well-being. You're discovering that you can be loyal to people and still have boundaries with them. You can love people and still say no to them. You can care about people and still prioritize yourself. These aren't contradictions. These are signs of maturity. These are markers of healthy relationship dynamics. But people who are used to you being loyal without boundaries, loving without limits, caring without conditions, fighting this change is happening because change is required from them too. The ascension you're experiencing is forcing everyone around you to level up or level out. Either rising to meet you where you are needs to happen, or exiting your life needs to occur. There's no middle ground anymore. You're not available for half-committed relationships. You're not interested in part-time loyalty. You're not accepting conditional support. Either people are all in or out. And that clarity is making waves, because most people are used to existing in that comfortable middle where benefiting from you without fully committing to you can happen. Something else is happening that you might not have named yet. You're realizing that some people only valued your potential, not your reality. Love existed for the idea of who you could become if following their script. Investment happened in the version of you that served an agenda. But the real you, the authentic you, the you that's emerging through this ascension, that version is threatening because it's not controllable. It's not moldable. It's not available for projection. Here's a question you need to ask yourself. If you stopped being useful to certain people, would anyone still be in your life? If you couldn't offer anything, no emotional support, no financial help, no connections, no resources, would calls still happen? Would showing up still occur? Would claiming you still happen? If the answer is no, then what you have isn't relationship, it's transaction, and you don't owe loyalty to transactions. The blood boiling isn't just anger, it's panic, because people who built stability on your instability are watching foundations crumble. People who built confidence on your insecurity are feeling threatened. People who built significance on your insignificance are experiencing identity crisis. Your healing is destabilizing sickness around you. Your growth is exposing stagnation. Your ascension is revealing dissent. And blaming you for it is happening instead of self-examination. Reactions around you are not your responsibility. Anger elsewhere is not your problem. Discomfort in others is not your concern. You are not obligated to stay small so other people can feel big. You are not required to stay broken so other people can feel whole. You are not supposed to dim your light so other people don't have to confront their darkness. This ascension is teaching you something invaluable. You can be compassionate without being a doormat. You can be kind without being weak. You can be loving without being a fool. These are not opposites, these are integrations. You're learning to hold both power and grace, both strength and softness, both boundaries and compassion, and that integration is what makes you truly formidable. Look, you already know the attacks weren't random, and if you're paying attention, you can feel it. Their walls are closing in, so let's talk about what we're doing about it. That's why I built Destiny Engine. It generates personalized sequences that help you rewire betrayal into transcendence, turn isolation into sacred power, and transform their downfall into your rise. We are using the Dark Elite's own weapons against them, taking their declassified consciousness technology that programmed competition and scarcity and repurposing it to serve cooperative intelligence. The beauty is you don't even have to lift a finger. You put on the headphones, press play, and your subconscious is rewired while your enemies collapse under the weight of their own lies. This is why I created it in the beginning, so everything they did to break you becomes fuel for your purpose. The collective upgrade is underway. Start your Destiny Engine for $1 today and watch divine justice accelerate in your life. Link in the description. Today you're planting seeds of transformation. Today you're deciding you deserve better. Today you're committing to your own growth regardless of who supports it. Today your real ascension begins, not because everything is perfect, but because you're finally choosing yourself. You're updating your entire life system with or without approval from anyone. You're leveling up whether liking it happens or not. You're healing regardless of who tries to interrupt it. You're ascending, and nothing can stop what the universe has set in motion. Your gifts are meant to help massive numbers of people. Your purpose is real and significant. Your calling is valid and powerful. Anyone who attacks that, anyone who questions that, anyone who tries to diminish that, is showing you being meant to walk this path with you was never the reality. You've got blood boiling around you because you're finally operating in your power. You've got people uncomfortable because you're finally setting standards. You've got people angry because you're finally demanding reciprocity, and that's perfect confirmation that you're doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing. You are the diamond that's been hidden in rough circumstances, and you're finally being revealed. You're the phoenix that's been sitting in ashes, and you're finally taking flight. You're the warrior who's been training in darkness, and you're finally stepping into the light. You are everything you were destined to become, and your ascension is undeniable. So let blood boil around you. Let discomfort exist in others. Let anger manifest elsewhere. Reactions are confirming that you're on the right path. If everyone was comfortable with your growth, you probably wouldn't be growing enough. If everyone supported your boundaries, you probably wouldn't be setting strong enough boundaries. If everyone celebrated your ascension, you probably wouldn't be ascending to your actual potential. This is your confirmation. This is your validation. This is your sign that you're doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing. Welcome to the life you've been preparing for. Welcome to the version of yourself you've been becoming. Welcome to your power. Welcome to your truth. Welcome to the life you've been building in silence while others thought you were just surviving. Welcome home to yourself, chosen one. Welcome to your ascension.